Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 10 of the Raider Power Podcast. I'm Ryan, and with me, as always, is my man Moss and our boy Evan. How are we doing today, fellas?
I'm doing just dandy, man. How are you doing, Evan?
Man, Dandy describes it well. It's March. What's better than March basketball?
It is
I,
March.
I I'll tell you what, there's not many things better than March basketball, but maybe March basketball while enjoying a Make Life Dandy, the
Uh,
sponsors of our podcast. I'm having a nice blood orange over here, and I'll tell you what, it tastes like sunshine and rainbows.
it's not made with either real sunshine or rainbows, just for legal purposes.
But no, it's March, it's basketball. The Big 12 tournament starts this week, and after the conference tournaments, we all know what happens after that. And I'll tell you what, we are geared up and ready to go, and I couldn't be more excited. I don't know, how do you guys feel going into March?
I'm feeling super pumped, man. Chris Beard basically, I don't know how he does it, but he gets his team in the right spot at this time, year after year. We are playing the best basketball that I've seen this season as a unit. They seem like they're playing together. They're playing for one another. Even with that Baylor loss, I thought Tech played well. I thought Tech played good enough to win. A round in March Madness, their first round. They shot from three, I think 50%. I think they shot like 44% from the floor. Just Baylor was on a different level completely. And if they play like that in March, I don't see anybody stopping them. But I believe that Tech is playing the best defense of the year, and I think that the offense looks fluid and it's moving real well. Evan, what are your takes, man?
I couldn't agree with you more. At the beginning of the year, we all three said that the most important element of this team is how they're going to gel, and they're starting to gel at the right time. They're to your point, they're playing like a cohesive unit. Like, not that they hadn't done that throughout the year, but more.
It just feels
more
different
cohesive
right
than
now.
they've been. Yeah, no question. You're right. Beard has a knack for getting his team to come together at the right moment. Um,
And if you want to
we
talk
can.
about players in the right moment, I mean, we're seeing Kyler Edwards, for example. He looks like a totally different player right now. Totally.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're seeing Kyler Edwards play like all of us expected him to play as a 3-year veteran. Maybe not even expected him to play. He's playing better than I expected.
Yeah.
But he is living up to the Kyler Edwards potential that we know that he has.
That
And he's
Beard
being a leader
has-
out there, too.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
will say that he's playing to the level that Beard has said he will.
Yeah.
Right?
And when I look at where we are right now, I couldn't agree more. The last 4 games, including the loss to Baylor, I mean, I thought the team just looked great. Baylor, the team played great against Baylor, but
I
Baylor
thought so,
just played
too.
at another level. I mean, they shot as a team 63% from three, and that was 15 of 24. Like, that's going to be hard to beat any team when they're shooting like that. Nevertheless, a team like Baylor. But, they put up 73 against them. In the first half, it was so tight. And when I look at the 3 games before it, the sweep of Texas, which I'm sure we'll go into, and then the Iowa State game, I thought that the team looked incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so excited for the conference tournament right now. I really think that even as a 6 seed, they're winning at least 1-2 games. I think they're going to beat Texas again, and we're going to keep rolling.
And I like how Beard views the conference tournament because he always, discusses it's kind of 6 one hand, half dozen the other. Like, what's better, to do a deep run in the conference tournament and utilize that momentum, or if you get beat early, worst case scenario is that you just have some extra time to rest before the big dance. And I think he has an excellent way of using whatever situation he is in and the team is in to our advantage.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we don't want to lose. He doesn't want to lose. The players don't want to lose. But win or lose, he's going to have that as an experience to take us to the next level in March. He's going to look at it as a pro either way.
I think this year, winning that first round against Texas on Thursday, that will just really improve their seeding in March for the big dance. I think if they lose first round, you're looking at a 5 or 6 seed. If they win, you're looking at a 4.
You think it's going to have that big of an impact on seeding?
I think they're right on that cusp of, their top 20 The Big 12 had 7 teams ranked in the top 25. How many high seeds are they going to give out to one conference? I think separating yourself a little bit from some of those other teams that are ranked really close to them could change you from a 6 to a 4.
I don't see them going over West Virginia, and I don't see them, perhaps
Not West Virginia or Baylor. Probably not Kansas either, but Oklahoma State, Texas, that's very possible.
Perhaps Oklahoma State, just because we did get swept. It was so weird in the Big 12 this year for Tech. It was either sweep or be swept. We swept Texas, we swept Iowa State, we swept Kansas State, right?
Swept Oklahoma.
We beat TCU that one game. I'm sure they would have swept TCU if they played them both times. But then you get swept by West Virginia, Baylor, Kansas, Oklahoma State for those 8 losses.
That's why I think you got if you beat Texas here, you get a higher seed than them.
No, okay, yeah, it would be hard to argue it, honestly.
3-0.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Top 20 teams.
It's hard to beat the same team 3 times.
KenPom also, you got to look at different rankings than just the AP poll. You got to look at the net rankings. They honestly look at the KenPom rankings too. And, Tech is ranked higher than both Texas and Oklahoma State and Oklahoma and all the other rankings besides the AP poll.
I'm so looking forward to this game against Texas, first round of the tournament, the Big 12 tournament, because let's flash back a year ago. As we all know, the tournament gets canceled. We're slated to play UT, but that was a play-in game.
Yeah.
Pretty much by every expert's opinion, the winner of that game made the dance. The loser was a first 4 out, And so now, fast forward to this time, and it's like you're fighting for, top-tier seeding in the tournament. Sure feels better this time around.
100%.
Yeah.
The team feels better as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The team
I also think
feels like
we're
it could
seeding,
make a run.
Yeah, I think seeding this year is going to be almost more important than ever too, because when you look at which quadrant you get put in, 1, 2, 3, or 4, there are very clear top 3 teams in the NCAA.
Oh yeah.
You get put in that 4th bracket with whoever ends up as the last 1 seed, whether it's Illinois or whoever. I would say Michigan, Baylor, and Gonzaga are clearly the best 3 teams in the NCAA right now. Getting in that 4th bracket would be a godsend.
You think Illinois is not as good as Michigan?
On any given night, any team can win. We all know that. But if you just look at the full grasp of their seasons, Michigan has, I think, separated themselves into that top 3.
I don't know, man. Illinois thumped Michigan last week. And then Michigan just had a really bad loss to Michigan State yesterday.
I'm saying that there are 2 clear top teams. It's just Gonzaga. And if Baylor plays like we just saw, then Baylor's.
Gonzaga's been playing like that every game.
No, that's what I'm saying though. It's just those 2 to me, those are the clear front runners.
Yeah,
Baylor. And
I
Gonzaga.
really wish that they had gotten their game in this year, because didn't they have a game they were supposed to play? It got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
And both of them beat up on every ranked team they played, basically.
I think
that would have been a hell of a game to watch in regular season.
Baylor would have been undefeated if they didn't have that huge coronavirus pause, in my opinion. Because they looked bad when they came back. They barely beat Iowa State.
Yeah. And you got to also think about Gonzaga, right? The beginning of the season, they played, all the best teams. Mm-hmm. And they kind of stomped out a lot of them. Yeah. Right? They beat Kansas pretty easily. They West Virginia was their closest game of the year. They scored 100 points on Iowa, dummied Auburn. Virginia, they beat by 23. Then you get to the second half of the season, the only good team they play is BYU. And, they haven't played a good team besides BYU since Christmas.
The other BYU team that they played. They played BYU. I will also say, though, that Gonzaga is a very senior-led team, a very experienced team. And when they got those big games at the beginning of the season, Kansas was not that good. Virginia was not that good, right? West Virginia has gotten a lot better since Sheboy has left. It's a much better team. So I think their best wins were when teams weren't as experienced as they were coming into the season. I would also
argue that they have 1 senior on the whole roster, or in the starting 5. They got the best freshman in the country in Jalen Suggs. He's going 1 overall. He's unreal. I think he's better than Cade. Drew Timmy, that kid's unreal. I've just watched a lot of Gonzaga this year, and when you got 4 dudes that are in the finalists for the Naismith Player of the Year, they actually have a team right now that has 5 players that are going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen that since the Kansas rosters back in the day with like what was it, like 2012? Oh no, Kentucky with D Book and all those guys in like 2012. That was the last time a team had 5 NBA players.
Yep.
Like I think a Gonzaga Baylor game would be
Let's
something to behold.
let's hope that Gonzaga gets taken out pretty fast in this tournament.
Let's hope Tech just runs deep, boys, eh?
Yeah.
So what do we got to do that? I mean, I know we're saying we're gelling at the right time, but that's kind of big picture. Specifics. How do we think that we do that?
I think the biggest thing is closing games.
Oof.
I think that down the stretch, we've had so many close games go one way or the other, go to overtime, lose by a basket, win by a basket. Being able to shut the door at the right time, especially in the tournament, I think that makes or breaks your run.
I'm going to get a little specific with this. I think that, number one, Marcos Silva Santos needs to basically not get in foul trouble in the first half of any game, right? Because this dude is the heart and soul of the team. He's a leader on the team, and he loves picking up early fouls. And when that happens, they can't play through them, which they love to do. So that would be my number one thing. Number two, Mac needs to feel it, man. Mac needs to be hot. He needs to be comfortable. He needs to be in control, and I think he needs to let the game come to him. But he needs to feel it, and I think he needs to get early baskets because in the last few games he's been kind of hit or miss. And I think, and when he's not playing well, we have to rely more on Edwards. We have to rely more on Shannon, and Mac is the go-to guy, in my opinion.
Do you think it's a case of Mac not playing well, or let me present a different scenario here that I think is the case? Every team schemes for Tech the exact same way now. They switch everything on McClung. They face guard McClung. They deny him the ball. That's their game plan. They're making somebody else beat you on offense besides Mac McClung. So, in my opinion, the key to March and being able to make a run is having those other guys step up when you know that everyone else, every other team, their game plan is to shut down Mac.
Yeah, so, and here's a question I pose for you when you talk about some other players stepping up. Do you think that this March could be Terrence Shannon's coming out party the way it was a couple years ago for Culver?
So I was going to say my third point, which was from the Baylor game, the announcers hit it right on the head, was that Mac did not have one non-contested shot the entire game because they were shutting him down. So my third point, and this was not for Shannon, but this is for McCullough, was that the other Mac needs to step up and take a bigger role on the offensive side of the side of things. Terrence Shannon, yes, Ryan, I totally believe so. I think he's been kind of like showing off in very small spurts of games, but if he can just take over a game, and I think this would be the time for him to do it, especially because he's a draft, a lottery pick or first round pick. This might even be like his Zaire Smith moment when he really just has some highlights in front of the entire country and moves up the draft boards. That could definitely happen, 100%.
I mean, Beard said at the beginning of the season that Terrence Shannon would be the best player to ever play at Texas Tech.
He said that about Culver last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he was right about Culver. Are we going to see it this March from Shannon?
So
that's my question.
So the thing about Shannon, man, Shannon is like
raw as fuck.
I don't know if he's soft. I don't know if that's the word I want to use for him because he's definitely not. He's not like soft emotionally. And he loves the battle and everything. But the dude just doesn't have the I'm gonna take over the game completely. I want to start. I want the ball in my hands at all times because he's like
killer instinct.
Yeah, I say killer instinct. He's comfortable with coming off the bench. I don't know, man. He has the talent to take over games. I just haven't seen him take over a game in a while.
Yeah, the last time I remember him really being the go-to guy was Kansas at home.
Mm-hmm.
When he played, Shannon was the guy against Kansas at home. He wanted the ball. He was making big buckets down the stretch. He was the one that had didn't make the shot, but everyone wanted the ball in his hands down the stretch to try to hit the buzzer beater. And so he has it, man. He has so much upside Like it is unreal. He was a football player a majority of his life. He didn't start playing basketball seriously until call it mid high school. His upside is gigantic. If he stayed 1 more year at Tech.
Yeah. I also think to the LSU game, where obviously down that stretch, Mac saved the game. But if it wasn't for Shannon, the rest of the game, they wouldn't even been in that position. That was I thought that game was one of his best of the year. He had something like 25 points and 10 rebounds. Like that is a ball game. I think you guys are right. We need him to start playing like he did against Kansas, play like he did in that game. And if he can be that serious second option behind McClung, or if McCullough can be that serious second option, or Kyler keeps playing the way he is, you just need the other people on the court to be scoring buckets so that, like you said earlier, Evan, teams can't just focus on McClung.
The thing is, we play so slowly, so there's like limited touches on offense, to be honest. We have a really slow tempo, and to spread it out to the point where we can get the hot hand on any one of these guys is kind of difficult.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, another key to a run on the defensive side of the ball is the ability to contest the 3-shot. I mean, statistically, Tech is not good as contesting the 3 goes. Yeah. And in my perspective, a large part of that, Chris, to your point earlier, Santos Silva gets in foul trouble a lot of the time. As a result of that, we have to play small ball pretty often. Mm-hmm. Well, what do teams do? They give it to their big man. We have to double them up most of the time, otherwise they would just dominate, and then they just pass to the open wing out in the corner. So like we've seen that time and time again.
Yep.
And so staying out of foul trouble is going to be key because we need the ability to shut down other teams' big man so that we can start contesting threes better.
Yeah, and I mean, to go right off that point with Santos Silva getting foul trouble, change the defensive scheme, our numbers against offensive rebounds and letting up second chance points are also pretty piss poor. It's threes and second chance points. You look at the team statistically on the defensive side otherwise, one of the best teams in the country against twos, one of the best teams in the country at causing turnovers. But threes and offensive rebounds really bury this team.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna say one more thing about making a run in March, in my opinion, is to get a quadrant without any other Big 12 teams. I don't know.
Impossible.
Is that impossible?
There's going to be 7 Big 12 teams in the tournament.
See, for me, I think if we go into March and we're playing the defense that we can play and that we've been playing for the last few games, these other conferences aren't used to this like insanely tough, just in-your-face, swarming defense. And I think we saw that when we made the run to the national championship 2 years ago. Was we just were on a whole different level when it came to the aggressiveness on defense, and I think we still play that way. I don't think
10th most turnovers in the country.
I just don't think that the other conferences I don't think the teams are playing as tough defense as the Big 12 plays. And I think we could possibly see 4 teams in the Sweet 16 from the Big 12 this year. I don't think that's ridiculous to say at all.
I don't either. And I think it's honestly pretty comical when you look at exactly what you're saying. You look at Big 12 basketball, and it's defensively driven. Obviously, they're great players that can score the ball, but it's the best defensive conference in the country. You look at the Big 10, and it's all about points, points, points. And you go to football, and it's just the exact opposite.
That's facts. But I think the Big 12 has basically become like a no middle defense. Totally. I mean, Baylor.
The Big 12 is where men are made.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor's defense is pretty much identical to Texas Tech's no middle defense. I think Texas has basically been doing that. Oklahoma State does when they go into that zone. So it's pretty specific to Big 12. Is we have a very standard defense, and it's tough and it's in your face, and you better hit big shots if you want to win. But you're not going to be driving the ball down the middle, getting easy twos. That's just not going to happen. Everyone is completely defensively focused, and I think we're going to beat up on some like for example, remember when we played Buffalo 2 years ago in the what round was that? The Sweet 16, or was that
round of 32?
Round of 32. Everyone thought Buffalo was going to have a huge shot against us because I think they
put up 85 points a game. They were billing it as the best offense in the country, but it's the best defense in the country.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. They thought Buffalo had a really good shot to really just take down Texas Tech and expose this team. Nope, we dusted them right out of the gate. I mean, it was not even close in the second half. I think we were on like a 19-0 run or something. And that's because they hadn't seen a defense like that. And I think if we get some of these teams from the other conferences, I don't think that they're going to be built to play 40 minutes against Texas Tech defense or Baylor defense or Kansas defense as well.
I think what you were saying about not facing another Big 12 team in a bracket, like I don't think that's going to be possible just because of how many teams there are. It's not probable, I should say. What we got to hope for is to not face another Big 12 team until like at least Sweet 16.
Yeah, I don't want to play West Virginia again. I don't.
Yeah,
I'd rather not.
That's fair.
That's why I was pumped to get Texas instead of West Virginia or Oklahoma State first round of the Big 12 tournament.
I honestly just Oklahoma State, I swear they have the best games of their lives every time they play Tech.
I think West Virginia does too, man. For sure.
Fuck Oklahoma State. I just keep thinking back to what's that kid, Lindy Waters.
Oh my god!
Like 42 threes in
I
one
still
game.
remember his number 22. I still remember.
I follow him on Instagram. I thought he was going to be playing this year. He's not.
Yeah, that kid just that one game, he just hit every single shot he ever tried.
We should not have lost the first game against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I agree.
Or the second one either. They both went to OT.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, we shouldn't have gotten swept by them, but we shouldn't have gotten swept by Kansas either. I mean, Tech has been in so many close games, either win or lose. I feel like it's been more lose heavy.
You talk about the end of regulation in 4 of those losses. Kansas, both Oklahoma States, and one of the West Virginias. The end of regulation between those 4 games was separated by 2 points total.
Yeah, and you can think
that's closing the door.
You can think about Oklahoma State getting a few ridiculous calls and winning the first one in overtime or double overtime. The West Virginia game where we were up by like 11 or something, and then they just couldn't miss for the last 11 minutes. You think again to the Oklahoma State game where, so many fouls were not called. I think, maybe karma's going to come back and we're going to get some of these calls, or, just we've learned how to play in the last 10 minutes of games and shut them down. Beard knows how to play. I'm not worried about this.
Just a thought, I can't help but compare this team to last year. Every loss we've had this year has been a quadrant 1 loss. We have not had a bad loss. It hurts to lose, obviously. But when you think about compared to last year, that's why Tech is still ranked at number 20, and we're sitting at 6th in the Big 12, is because of we haven't lost anyone a bad loss, Yeah. And so, to your point, we're in every game. We are in every game.
And I think that, this team is built for March. I think it's got Beard has said in many interviews that this is his favorite team to coach because their desire to win. Well, when their back's against the wall and if they lose, they go home. I think the desire to win is, one of the greatest assets they could possibly have next to their talent.
Yeah, I think it's going to be up another level.
They're going to be fiery. Also, the screen is recorded, so it's going to be funny for the YouTube. Ryan has to leave in 5 minutes, and Evan has got it.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay, I don't like doing this, but I'm going to do it anyways. Prediction. How far does Tech go?
In which tournament?
In the Big Dance.
I'll let you know come Selection Sunday, brother.
Okay, that's fair.
I will say at Selection Sunday, I will give you a real answer, but for now, I will say they will at least get to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I will make a prediction. If they do not have any other Big 12 teams in their quadrant, they will be going to the Elite 8.
Nice. Okay.
Minimum.
I like it.
You gotta hit it with a minimum.
All right. We got you real quick. I know Ryan's bouncing.
5 minutes. 4 minutes now.
Quick football discussion. What do we think of the Well, actually, first, bigger news. Our boy Bowman is headed to the University of Michigan. Who would have thought that Alan Bowman would have transferred to the school the likes of Michigan? I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
I'm so happy for.
I think it's a wicked weird fit.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like with the way Michigan plays and what Bowman's talents are, it's kind of like a weird couple. But I'm also wicked happy for him, and I hope he gets a starting role and they play well. But you think about a team that's just like ground and pound, Big Ten football, meat and potatoes, and Bowman just wants to throw the long ball. So I'm a little confused, but
But
hopefully
that's
he
what's
does well.
crazy is that Michigan is getting the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the nation coming in as a true freshman. And so you would have to think that Bowman is going somewhere where he has some sort of indication that he has a good chance to be the starter, right? And
Yeah.
so maybe Harbaugh just loved what he saw, and he was like, "Yeah, this is our guy."
Harbaugh also strikes me as the type of guy that's like, all right, like freshman, like you need to learn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not ready to play yet. I don't think you see a lot of true freshmen playing at Michigan at quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe you got that glass replaced with some Detroit steel.
There you go, brother. But Texas Tech also has their own transfer coming in.
Yeah.
Pac-12 champion.
Just as surprising to me. That was so out of the blue to me. But
I think we got a real
Tyler
quarterback
Shaw looks
competition
like
now.
he's got the makings of the real deal. But yeah, to your point, we got the highest rated quarterback coming in since Graham Harrell in Baron Morton. So I think that those two guys are going to battle it out for the spot for sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My brain is so far away from Texas Tech football and Matt Wells that I don't care.
All I have to say is if Henry plays a snap, we're gonna have problems. Wells, you heard me here, brother.
Oh, man.
Henry.
Well, at least we got some time before that. We even have to worry about that.
Well, all I can say is we got the Big 12 tournament this week. March basketball is upon us, and it's time to see what these boys are really made of. Let's make a run. Let's cause some damage.
Guys, let's just think back. You know, this season has been so crazy. We've had the departure of our number one recruit of all time.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that too, honestly. And then we got rid of, or the other dude bounced. I forgot his name.
Ntambwe,
which would have been sick to see him play. But, you know, it's been a struggle. COVID has affected the team and made the schedule difficult. But, you know, it's just positive from here on out. What a year.
It's just wins, baby.
Just wins.
That's a testament to what Beard can do, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a testament to what Beard can do.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1. Well, I think that wraps us up. We're getting ready for the tournament, boys. I'm Ryan.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Evan.
And this has been the Raider Power Podcast. Guns up, fellas.
Guns up, baby.
Guns up, baby.